In this podcast episode, the host interviews Max Lebow, a 33-year-old actor and filmmaker who has recently gained attention for his podcast, The Final War. The podcast chronicles his bizarre and unsettling experiences with a group that claimed to be dissidents from the People's Liberation Army, PLA, of China. The story begins with Lebow receiving a cryptic message on Instagram from an account that claimed to be associated with the PLA. The message contained poetic language and specific references to his life, including his address. Intrigued and somewhat alarmed, Lebow decided to engage with the account despite his girlfriend's warnings to ignore it. This decision marked the beginning of a complex relationship with the hackers, who claimed to be reaching out to him for a greater purpose. As the conversations progressed, the hackers introduced themselves as dissidents who had broken away from the PLA after realizing the malevolent nature of the technology they were working on. They claimed to be fighting for human consciousness and sought Lebow's help in their mission. The initial allure of being part of something significant and the hackers' seemingly genuine intentions drew Lebow in, despite the growing sense of unease that accompanied their interactions. One of the most chilling aspects of Lebow's experience was the hacker's ability to describe his life in detail, including private conversations he had with his therapist and family. They claimed to have access to his phone, which led him to question the extent of their surveillance capabilities. Lebow recounted instances where the hackers referenced specific moments from his life, making it clear that they were monitoring him closely. This revelation left him feeling vulnerable and paranoid as he grappled with the idea that his every move was being watched. The hackers explained that they were able to access his information through the Internet of Things, IoT, and 5G technology. They painted a picture of a world where surveillance was omnipresent and personal privacy was a thing of the past. Lebow's understanding of technology and its implications deepened as he engaged with the hackers, leading him to question the very nature of reality and the potential for mind control through advanced technology. This theme of surveillance and control became a central focus of his narrative, highlighting the dangers of living in a hyper-connected world. Throughout the podcast, Lebow discusses the significance of 5G technology in the hackers' narrative. They claimed that 5G was not just a technological advancement, but a tool for control and manipulation. The hackers argued that the implementation of 5G networks would enable unprecedented levels of surveillance and data collection, allowing those in power to monitor and influence human behavior on a massive scale. This assertion raised questions about the ethical implications of such technology and its potential to infringe on individual freedoms. Lebow's exploration of 5G technology also led him to consider its connection to the COVID-19 pandemic. The hackers suggested that the pandemic was a pretext for implementing 5G networks and that the fear surrounding the virus would make people more willing to accept invasive technologies. This perspective aligned with broader conspiracy theories that emerged during the pandemic, which posited that the virus was engineered to facilitate a global agenda. Lebow's willingness to entertain these ideas reflected the psychological toll that his interactions with the hackers had taken on him, as he struggled to discern fact from fiction. As the conversations progressed, the hackers introduced the concept of nanotechnology and its potential applications in the context of the pandemic. They claimed that the COVID-19 vaccine contained nanobots capable of interacting with 5G technology, raising concerns about the implications for personal autonomy and health. Lebow found himself grappling with the idea that these technologies could be used to manipulate human behavior and consciousness, further blurring the lines between reality and paranoia. The discussion of nanotechnology also tied into the broader narrative of control and surveillance. The hackers suggested that the integration of nanobots into the human body would enable unprecedented levels of monitoring and manipulation, effectively turning individuals into unwitting participants in a larger experiment. This notion of being controlled by technology resonated deeply with Lebow, as he reflected on the implications for society as a whole. The fear of losing autonomy to advanced technologies became a recurring theme in his narrative, prompting listeners to consider the ethical dilemmas posed by such innovations. Lebow's interactions with the hackers were marked by a series of psychological manipulations designed to keep him engaged and compliant. The hackers employed various tactics to instill fear and uncertainty, often referencing his vulnerabilities and personal struggles. They would oscillate between offering support and threatening consequences, creating a sense of dependency that made it difficult for Lebow to extricate himself from their influence. This psychological manipulation took a toll on Lebow's mental health, leading him to question his reality and the motivations of those around him. He described feeling isolated and paranoid as he struggled to maintain relationships with friends and family while navigating the complexities of his interactions with the hackers. The emotional intensity of his experiences became a focal point in the podcast, highlighting the profound impact that such manipulations can have on an individual's psyche. Throughout his ordeal, Lebow sought therapy to help him process the overwhelming nature of his experiences. His therapist played a crucial role in providing support and validation, helping him navigate the emotional turmoil that accompanied his interactions with the hackers. Lebow's willingness to share his story with his therapist allowed him to gain perspective on the situation and develop coping strategies to manage his anxiety and paranoia. The therapeutic relationship also served as a counterbalance to the psychological manipulation he experienced from the hackers. By discussing his fears and concerns in a safe environment, Lebow was able to maintain a sense of agency and autonomy, even as the hackers sought to undermine his confidence. This dynamic underscored the importance of mental health support in navigating complex and distressing situations, particularly when faced with external pressures and manipulations. As Lebow navigated his interactions with the hackers, he grappled with a desire for purpose and meaning in his life. The allure of being part of a larger mission resonated with him, particularly during a time when he was struggling to find his footing as an actor and filmmaker. The hackers' narrative of fighting for human consciousness and against oppressive forces provided a sense of significance that he found appealing, even as he recognized the potential dangers of their influence. This search for purpose became a central theme in Lebow's story, as he reflected on the ways in which individuals can be drawn into complex narratives that promise meaning and significance. The desire to belong to something greater than oneself can lead to vulnerability, making individuals susceptible to manipulation and exploitation. Lebow's journey serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of critical thinking and discernment in the face of compelling narratives. The COVID-19 pandemic served as a backdrop for Lebow's experiences, influencing the dynamics of his interactions with the hackers and shaping the broader narrative of control and surveillance. The fear and uncertainty surrounding the pandemic created an environment ripe for manipulation, as individuals sought answers and reassurance in a rapidly changing world. Lebow's engagement with the hackers coincided with the onset of the pandemic, amplifying the psychological impact of their manipulations. As the pandemic unfolded, Lebow observed the ways in which fear was leveraged to facilitate the acceptance of invasive technologies and surveillance measures. The hackers' claims about the connection between COVID-19 and 5G technology resonated with broader conspiracy theories that emerged during this time, prompting Lebow to question the motivations of those in power. This exploration of the pandemic's impact on society added depth to his narrative, highlighting the complex interplay between fear, control, and technology. Lebow's decision to reach out to the FBI marked a turning point in his journey, as he sought to regain control over his narrative and protect himself from potential harm. The agent's response to his concerns provided a sense of reassurance as they assured him that he was not in danger and that they were aware of the hackers' activities. This interaction underscored the importance of seeking help and support in navigating complex and distressing situations. The FBI's involvement also raised questions about the nature of surveillance and control in the modern world. Lebow's experiences with the hackers and the subsequent investigation highlighted the blurred lines between personal privacy and national security. The podcast serves as a platform for exploring these themes, prompting listeners to consider the implications of living in a hyper-connected world where surveillance is pervasive and the boundaries of privacy are continually challenged. As Lebow continues to share his story through the final war, he remains committed to exploring the themes of surveillance, control, and the nature of truth in the modern world. The podcast serves as a platform for engaging with listeners and fostering discussions about the implications of advanced technologies and the psychological impact of manipulation. Lebow's willingness to confront his experiences and share them with others reflects a desire for transparency and understanding in an increasingly complex landscape. Looking ahead, Lebow envisions the potential for further exploration of these themes through future episodes and collaborations with experts in the field. The podcast's format allows for a dynamic exchange of ideas and perspectives, fostering a sense of community among listeners who may have encountered similar experiences. As he navigates the challenges of sharing his story, Lebow remains hopeful that his journey will resonate with others and contribute to a broader conversation about the implications of technology and control in contemporary society.